Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You're too kind. Thank you. Thank you. A little much, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. I'm Jimbo Noponital, and this is the first installment of the maiden voyage, the inaugural event of the Jimbo Noponital show. The tricky thing about a first installment is you don't know what you're installing, or where you're installing it, who you're installing it for, and for that matter, you don't know how you're going to install it either. But we hope to figure at least one of those questions out. And so I would like to, of course, start with an opening monologue that I like to call Things Going On. There's always lots of things going on around the world, right? For example, my uncle recently purchased a boat. Yeah, he just up and purchased a boat. You hear about this? Anybody hear about this? My uncle purchased a boat, and the thing is he's already $37,000 in debt, and he lives in landlocked Oklahoma, right? The last person you would be thinking that would be posting pictures of a boat on his Facebook feed over the weekend. That's how I found out. And then I asked him, I was like, no way. And I asked him, and he said he had purchased the thing. And the thing is he didn't bring up an important fact, which is that a few months ago, he borrowed a lawnmower from my parents. Yeah, that's right. He owed my parents a lawnmower, and then he goes out and buys another boat while keeping the lawnmower somewhere in his house and not even mentioning it. Not saying, hey, I need to keep it for another little while because I need to cut the grass again or something. No, he just keeps the damn thing without a word. We'd let him have it, but at least saying something would be acceptable. I saw it on his Facebook feed. It was on a trailer hitched to his old truck driving down some random road in rural Oklahoma. Like, it hasn't even touched water yet, but there's this expensive boat that is being dragged around different parts of the open plains. I think that whenever you make a serious purchase like that, and they're running through your credit and everything, running through your history, they should check if the person has borrowed any household appliances, maintenance tools, or playground equipment that they haven't returned yet. And they should check with all family members. That seems fair, doesn't it? Yeah, so Uncle Barry, ball's in your court. Let's see, are there any other things going on right now? Yeah, and it looks like a bombshell article was just dropped. Just without announcement, they just dropped this bombshell article in the subject of machine learning. Yeah, anybody hear about this? Anybody hear about this? Yeah, apparently the article is entitled Overcoming Catastrophic Forgetting in Neural Networks. And as we all know, that's been a huge problem in neural networks, is that they forget. So if we want them, any degree of forgetting, we want it to be at least not catastrophic. That's the goal of the article, and they get some of the way to that goal by a quick perusal, but they don't quite manage to always avoid catastrophic forgetting. And in order to do that, they have to fix certain parameters, which makes them more rigid, but at the same time emulates actual human intelligence a little bit better, because we have certain learned tasks that we are fairly immutable about. Once we learn to do something a specific way, we do it in that order. We don't bother readapting and relearning things. So anyway, I read about 3 sentences of the study, but I'm just going off of muscle memory from my days reading about machine learning. By the end of the article, it's clear that still a little bit of forgetting is getting past them. And some of that forgetting that's getting past them is catastrophic in nature. But that's part of the fun. They set out to do something that sounds really humble to the layperson, avoiding catastrophic forgetting. Well, that can't be too hard. I forget, but it's not usually catastrophic. Not until I've already lived my life and it doesn't matter anymore. We're getting there. That's part of the fun of all this. And so yeah, I just want to give a shout out. The whole team, there's like 15 of these guys. James Kirkpatrick, Razion Bascanio, Neil Rabnowitz, and other people. And to be honest, I don't have to name all of them. Probably the first two is enough, because it's just like in grade school group projects. When you have a lot of authors, only two of them were really doing any of the work. So yeah, shout out to James Kirkpatrick for sure. And maybe Ravian Pescanu as well. So that concludes things going on. We have a great show for you tonight. We'll be introducing our resident film and art critic, No Nonsense Jerry. He'll be providing a review for a film that came out months ago, but it's always nice to get a fresh perspective, and we always want to know, what does Jerry think? And next, we'll be brainstorming solutions to the crisis of political discourse in the social media era. And then after that, we will be sitting down with Steve for a little chit chat. Steve is by far the most esteemed and celebrated guest we've had on the show so far. So we got plenty more show coming your way. Be sure to stick around.
Marshmallows. Hungry? Please be.
They wouldn't tell you this, but JFK could bench press 200 pounds. That's because they let him out of the cryogenic chamber, and he's in pretty good shape. They never broke the sound barrier. They just lowered the speed of sound. That's how they did it. Little Richard invented chicken noodle soup, but they covered it up. If I smell bad, it's because they put chemtrails in the deodorant. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Jimbo Noponital show. I'm your host, Jimbo Noponital, and I'm just waiting for dinner. But in the meantime, we can check in with our resident film and art expert, Jerry. I like to call him No Nonsense Jerry, and you'll see why. Hello everyone, my name is Jerry, and this is What Does Jerry Think? Film and Art Review. This review is for the movie Dune, which I watched around the time it was released. To be honest, I don't remember very much of it, but that's because I didn't really care for it. I don't really care for anything that has spaceships or aliens or these grand epic battles and these quests and destinies. I don't really care for that sort of movie because I just don't relate to it. I just watch it and I don't relate to any of the characters or any of the things that are happening. It's just, too alien for me. I don't relate to any of the characters. They're not dealing with traffic. They're not dealing with their boss. A lot of my friends tell me that I should just enjoy these movies for what they are, and they often defend them using this word, escapism. They say that these movies are escapism, but I'm fundamentally opposed to the idea of escapism. If your life is so miserable that you need to escape from it, and the only thing that's going to get that done is a 2-hour movie, then you have other problems to deal with. At no point in the entire time I've been on Earth have I wanted to escape from my life. I am happy with the life that I have, and any time that I spend is spent living and not escaping. And suppose you really are a prisoner that needs to escape. You're out there on Alcatraz, right? You're serving a life sentence. There's no way you're getting out of there. Well, say they have movie night there in the prison ward. And when you go every week to watch these movies, are you staring at the screen just really thrilled with all the escapism you're getting? Or are you hatching plans to tunnel through those walls and then run off for a free life in Mexico? Jimbo insists that I provide a star rating for each of the movies that I review. He says that that's how you get the clicks, which, to be honest, is pretty much accurate. Since I don't really remember the movie too well, and people seem to like it a lot, and I obviously have my biases, you know, I don't think it's fair for me to judge the movie exactly. You know, most people seem to like these movies a lot. It seems to be something that people are interested in, and who am I to tell other people what to think? So I'm going to just go ahead and say Dune, 8 out of 10 stars. Should probably be pretty good. I don't know who's to say. Are you tired of finding that you've washed the entire bottle of detergent in with the rest of your laundry? Well, that's too bad because you are a dumbass. Tired.
Lately, been thinking about Mount Rushmore. Been thinking about the mountain that is carved on. You suppose that mountain was special? Or do you suppose they could have done carved up any mountain up there in the Dakotas? I've been in the Dakotas. Seen plenty of mountains up there that look presidential to me.
Welcome back to the Jimbo Noponital show. I'm your host, Jimbo Noponital, and I'm still sitting here waiting for my dinner. At this point, I'm starting to think that maybe I'm going to have to just cook it myself. I live alone, by the way. Now, not to get too serious, but I feel that in today's world, communication often breaks down between different groups of people. They simply don't see eye to eye, and there's no way for one group to reach or influence the other. And we are left perpetually at an ingress in so many different ways around the world. Many feel that they are simply not heard on these matters, and I hope to rectify that partially with a new series called A Seat at the Table. And there you have it. Be sure to tune in next time at The Seat at the Table. Truth be told, I don't have any content to follow that up. Come to Century Theater. We insist you do not see the new Spider-Man. Somebody's really slacking off cleaning my limo. Look at that. It's a disgrace. Look at that roof. It's yellowified. And then look at this. The trunk is normal sized. I specifically requested a limo sized trunk. What are we supposed to do? Have all the magic hats and the rabbits in the car with us? I think I might have to return this limo. Welcome back, everybody. Woo! Welcome back, everybody. Hey. Woo! Woo! Welcome back, everybody. Woo! Welcome back. Woo! Hey, welcome back, everybody. Woo! Thanks, Coltrane. No problem. And our guest tonight, none other than El Steverino. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. Good to have you with us. Happy to be here, Jimbo. So I heard you know the Pope? Yes, of course I know the Pope. How did you meet him? Well, I've seen him on TV and I've read a lot of his public statements. And on top of that, I've actually... So you know of the Pope is what you're saying. All right. As a matter of fact, I once visited his home. He wasn't there, but I feel that you can't possibly spend time in a person's home without getting a really clear idea of who they are. And to be perfectly honest, the Vatican is a very peculiar place to live. Not many people choose to live there. And, you know, there's all sorts of strange things going on there. I don't know if you're aware of it. One of the first things that I noticed was that there was a lot of Christian iconography. It was worse than 11 grandmothers' living room. It seemed like he was really into it. And as soon as I got in there, I got some serious Da Vinci Code vibes. You know, you look at you're like, there are things behind the walls, there are things behind the paintings. There's weird, freaky stuff going on everywhere. One of the things that I noticed is that they served really good soup. I'm not sure many people devote themselves to really good soup, and so that was a thing. And so by visiting his home, I was able to discern a lot of aspects of his personality that might not otherwise have been apparent.
Such as?
When I was there, I gathered that the man was very somber, very disciplined. He was contemplative and religious. I felt that he had devoted himself to the spiritual life, and I felt that he wanted to guide others in those pursuits.
I don't know.
As well.
I think we could tell that either way. Like, I don't think that's... So I heard recently that you started working out, that's a big part of your routine.
I wouldn't really say that it's a major part of my life, but it is something that I do in a limited way to keep my muscles from atrophying.
We'll be right back.
Okay, let's see. Nope. Nothing. 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 Soup. Okay. We can, yeah. Oh shit, it's vegetable. Soup.
There have been multiple casualties on the northern border of Honky Tonk Town. This conflict has arisen after the hipster nation passed a declaration of war unanimously in its Senate. Representative of the hipster nation assures us that the majority of the votes were, in fact, ironic, as well as the casualties in the war.
So I hear that you like to tell stories. No, I don't really tell stories, generally.
Okay, well, how about now?
No, I don't tell them unless they're really pried out of me, like you're doing right now.
Tell me one, and hopefully I haven't heard it before. Give us one of them.
Well, okay, I mean, I can tell you a story if you'd like, but let me ask you a few questions first. What would the topic be?
I hear that you recently got back from a trip to Barcelona. How was that?
Okay, and could you be more specific?
What was the nightlife like there?
Next, I have 3 options: funny, traumatizing, or both.
Well, I've got to go with traumatizing and funny. I got to get both. Double dose there.
So I'm going to tell a story about getting home after work in Seattle. A few years ago, I worked in retail, you see, and I would get out late, and I wouldn't cook for myself. It was too exhausting. I was always exhausted anyway, and I didn't want to spend any more energy existing than I had to, because that's the reality of working in retail. And so I got off at about 9:30 p.m. and I would go and get a meal at McDonald's. There was a McDonald's on 3rd Avenue and Pike Street in Seattle, a location that is known to be unsavory, I suppose. It has a reputation, is basically what I'm saying. So I went to that McDonald's and I got in line. It was a long line. It was always a long line, but McDonald's is so fast, even a long line isn't really going to be an issue. So I got in line and I waited and calculated how long it was going to take me to get the chicken nuggets that I wanted to order. And it looked like I was, 6 to 10 minutes, depending on, various factors that. And so when I finally was moving up in the line and I was the 2nd or 3rd in line, I believe I was the 3rd, there was a shooting outside the window. And it wasn't just a single shot, it was multiple shots. It was blam, 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 blam. Exactly like that, blam, 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 blam. 5 shots in that sort of pattern. And everyone just immediately took cover under these pillars and these barricades that were inside. And the McDonald's employees took immediate action and were already, high response, much better than police. And Police would have started shooting somebody. The thing is, everyone got down and there was this immediate response, but I did not. I wanted... I just stood there and I turned towards the window and I thought to myself, I want to get a look at this guy. And that was what I was thinking. And the thing is that it was based on a number of considerations. First of all, I was unlikely to be a target, and I was certainly unlikely to be an unintended casualty. Bullets going flying and hitting me was very unlikely, and also mass shootings and these sorts of things are very unlikely. They don't happen very often. It's like 0.1%. So I thought to myself, well, I'm pretty much safe. And getting down on the ground is an awkward experience. I'm sorry. A lot of people ask me about this and they're confused about why I would be so hesitant to do it. But one of the things about me is that I generally don't like hunkering down in fear.
Oh, boy.
So then I finally decided that I was going to get down on the ground like everybody else. I didn't like it at all. It felt weird. It was very unpleasant sort of thing to do, but I did it. So I was down with everybody else, and the McDonald's employees were ushering everybody into this corridor around the side of the store that was usually employees only for their breaks and whatnot. And they ushered us all into there, and then we stayed there. And they, after 10 or 20 minutes, they said, okay, if you feel safe, go ahead and leave, or you can stay here. Anyway, it was around this time that I realized that I wasn't ever going to get my chicken nuggets.
Oh, okay. So it was the nuggets. That's the whole time. That's what you were thinking of. This whole experience, it was all about the nuggets.
Yes, this is how I prioritize. This is absolutely how I prioritize it. This is how I live my life.
Steve, everybody, and we'll take a short break.
AirPods Pro, the highest, most sophisticated blow dryers in the world.
A coworker recently accused me of acting unprofessionally. Yeah, and that struck me as a weird thing to accuse somebody of, because if I wanted to act professionally, I would have driven off to Hollywood a long time ago, gotten a job as a waiter, and spent my time auditioning for shitty sitcoms that were going to be picked up by Netflix and dropped after a year.
Welcome back, everyone, to Late Night with Conan O'Brien. I'm your host, Jimbo Noponital, and that's all we have for you tonight. Tune in next time, and I'm sure we'll have some great new material. Also, dinner is served. Good night, everyone. Is this thing still on? Hello? Hello?